want to make this video because I made a video about Temple Man. Temple Man was the person who told bus driver Cecil McWaters that JFK had been shot in the temple. And in that video, I concluded Temple Man was Alan Tippit, the son of J.D. Tippit, and that temple referred to the area in the head of JFK where the bullet entered, that he was shot in the temple in the head. I was aware of an alternate possibility for the meaning of the temple as meaning Dealey Plaza itself. The JFK had been shot in Dealey Plaza, and I was aware of that interpretation because I had heard Vincent Salandria tell a story, and recently the Salandria story has been posted in a video on YouTube, so now I remember where it comes from, and this is the reason I'm making this video now, because now I remember where I heard the story. It was Vincent Salandria. And if Temple Man was referring to Dealey Plaza and not the head of JFK, then it suggests a different interpretation for what Temple Man's role in the conspiracy might have been. I'll get to that afterwards, but I want to play that part of the video where Salandria tells that story. He's on a road trip with Shirley Martin to Dallas, and he begins the Dealey Plaza story here.
Shortly after dawn, we had reached Dallas and went directly to Dealey Plaza, where Kennedy had been killed. When we emerged from Shirley's car at Dealey Plaza, a big man, appearing to be in his 50s and wearing sandals, approached me. Upon reaching me, he asked, "How's Mark Lane?" I offered no answer. By pointing broadly to the area around, he asked, "Do you know what this is?" Dealey Plaza, I answered. He then followed with, "No, do you know what it is?" I responded, "Well, I guess I don't." He followed by answering his own question. "This is a WPA project, a socialist project, where a socialist president was killed. The next time you write an article, mention that." This informative man then undertook to explain to me his view of the Holocaust. He related that the Holocaust had been a mere historical accident. He said that Jews just happened to have been closely quartered together in the ghettos in Europe. As a consequence of this intense crowding, they naturally got killed from the carnage of World War II in greater numbers than the rest of the population. It was accidental, he explained. The large man, having informed me about some history, also had indirectly informed me that he knew who I was and why I was in Dealey Plaza. He then slowly and calmly walked away.
And that YouTube video is on the Lone Gunman Podcast YouTube channel. So, apparently, according to Salandria's story here, there were some people who considered Dealey Plaza to be a temple of socialism, sort of. In this story, the man doesn't use those words, but that's something like the meaning of what he says. And so, this might have implications for what kind of conspiracy Temple Man was involved with, if Temple Man was referring to Dealey Plaza as the temple rather than the president's head. In the Salandria story, the man he encountered is essentially saying, "We killed the socialist president in his own temple," and it's kind of a symbolic element to the assassination. If you want to be a socialist president, this is what's going to happen to you. If Temple Man meant temple, and if Temple Man is Alan Tippit, it could be that through some sort of manipulation, Alan Tippett thinks of Dealey Plaza as a socialist temple, and that he's involved in a socialist conspiracy, and that they're killing the capitalist president in the socialist temple. So I don't think it alters my interpretation of the Temple Man situation or of Alan Tippett's involvement in it. That is, I think Alan Tippett was the communist boy that the barber Clifton Chastain saw with Oswald. I think Oswald was a genuine communist sympathizer, or a Marxist, as he would say. And so this doesn't change that sort of interpretation. However, there is the possibility that that Alan Tippett was putting on about being a communist boy, that he was playing along, and that he knows this is a capitalist conspiracy, and the Tippetts were paid handsomely for their participation. And it's possible that, of course, J.D. Tippett was killed, and I don't think Alan Tippett would be happy about that, and I don't think Marie Tippett would be happy about that. But it could be that they were told that Oswald killed J.D. Tippett, as the rest of the world was told that. So if that had been what happened, then it's possible that Alan Tippett was part of the capitalist conspiracy, and he knew it. And that nonetheless, even though his father was murdered, if he had been told that Oswald was the villain here, then he could have accepted that explanation, and it would still make sense with my interpretation. I'm still of the opinion that Oswald and Alan Tippett and J.D. Tippett were involved in a pro-Marxist plot based in Cuba, and that this was known about by American intelligence and was manipulated in order to kill Kennedy for their own purposes. However, it could be that the Tippetts were involved because of the authorities, and that they thought they were doing something on behalf of the authorities, that is, doing something for their country. It could be they were told that, and they were told that Oswald is the rogue here. Oswald went rogue. The president wasn't really supposed to be shot, but Oswald shot the president, and then Oswald shot J.D. Tippett. And that's why everything has gone wrong here, and we're going to make sure you guys are set for life in compensation for your loss. So this really only has bearing on what the participants thought they were doing. I think it's important to keep in mind that this thing happened because of the capitalist authorities. And by capitalist, I don't mean any kind of ideology. I mean the people who have the money, who control the government. They did this thing. And whatever the participants thought was going on, they are the villains. And the participants, on the level of the Tippetts anyway, are pawns in what's happening. And Oswald, too. But even after all of that, I still think that Temple Man was referring to the part of the head where Kennedy had been shot. That is, the temple as the part of the head, and that he was not referring to Dealey Plaza as a temple. So I'm not going to be remaking that Temple Man video until something changes my mind about that.